We're excited. The season's about to get going. We've got a veteran basketball team that feels like we're ready to kind of get things. It's been a long off season, and we've done a lot with the summer, and so we're ready to start playing and more importantly, get healthy. We're a little banged up right now, but get ourselves healthy so we can see if we can make another run. But excited about the Sun Belt Conference. I think that we've got great players and great coaches in this league. I think it's one of the most underrated conferences in the country, and I can't wait to get started.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Newport News, Virginia. Caller, please identify yourself and go ahead.
Hey, Coach, it's Doug at the AJC. How are you?
Good, Doug. How you doing?
I'm fine on this rainy day. Just two quick questions for you. Can you provide a health update on Curtis and Kevin? I know Curtis was supposed to start practice, I think, last week or this week. I just want to see if he had.
Yes, Curtis is this is his second practice really since, I guess it would have been since we left from Costa Rica. And so he had his second practice, so he's back. His time is a little bit off because he's been off for a while. And we hope to have Kevin Ware back maybe tomorrow or get him, maybe see if we can get him in the game on Monday.
Okay.
Recording.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug. Our next questions come from Texas. Caller, please identify yourself and go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. This is Josh Parrott. Was hoping you could talk a little bit, if you would, maybe share some thoughts on the strengths that you feel like this group is going to have this year.
Well, I personally think this may be the best defensive team that I've had in my 23 years as a head coach. I think that, again, the addition of Kevin Ware, and one of the things that I loved our team last year, we were really good offensively, but it's the worst defensive team that I ever had. But those guys, they knew how to win, and they were really explosive. This group here really defends well, and the experience, in our starting lineup, the youngest guy in our starting lineup is R.J. Hunter. At 21 years old, we got some older guys. We got fifth-year seniors. We got some guys that have been through some wars. Even Marcus Kreider, who's 22 years old. So the experience of this team defensively and just the hunger. I mean, it's been amazing since when we got together June 5th. How these guys have really worked, and whether it's the weight room or just in practice, they've really gotten after. So I just think that when you talk about that experience and having older guys that are talented, I think that becomes your strength, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
Coach, I've read where you talked a little bit with your guys about the way that last season ended. It was a great, magical run for you guys, but I know that in the conference tournament, those last couple minutes didn't go quite the way that you wanted to. You guys still made the postseason, had an incredible run in conference play. What have you felt that your guys have been able to take away? I'm sure not taking too much time to think about it, but I'm sure there's been some reflection on last season in the tournament just not going the way that you guys wanted it to.
Well, one of the things that I wanted our guys to know, by no means was last year a failure for us. I mean, it was just 3 years ago that Georgia State had lost seven straight losing seasons. So, in a short period of time, the expectations have really grown in this program. What our young men did last year was tremendous. We had a bad 3 or 4 minutes of the year, to be honest with you. So again, we talk about finishing, and making sure we get to the NCAA tournament in that regard. But we didn't harp and spend an enormous amount of time talking about, boy, this is a failure. The very first practice this year, I showed them the last 3 minutes of the game. I didn't coach that. We didn't talk about it. You could hear a pin drop. And then we went to practice. About 20 minutes later, there were 4 fights in practice that day because the guys were a little chippy after watching, because we have not, including me. We did not watch that film. We didn't watch the last few minutes. We just moved on. And so, but before we started practice, it was important that they saw those last 3 minutes. And again, the practices at that point have been, when things go bad in practice, we resort back to those last 3 minutes and talk about that.
Coach, you guys lost Atkins and White. I know they're very important, vital players for you guys. You got R.J. Ryan coming back, Curtis back as well, but some of the reserves, and you had Jeff Thomas, you have Kevin Ware. Can you share your thoughts on just how this group is going to be maybe a little bit different with the dynamic of not having Atkins and White? And you have 2 very special players in R.J. and Ryan as well.
Yeah, each team is a different team. Last year's team was, we kind of had to make some adjustments. We started off 3-6, and we had to make some adjustments with that team because, again, we knew it wasn't we weren't going to be the team we needed to be defensively. So we made some adjustments on how we played a little bit. This team is a little bit different, a little bit more physical, a little bit definitely quicker, definitely more athletic, kind of more on my pace of the way my teams have always played. But again, the strength of it is his experience, and so we'll kind of go through this and kind of fill it out. I mean, one of the things that we talked about is that last year's over. Whatever happened last year's over. Again, we know that this, when you talk in the Sun Belt, there's some very good teams in the Sun Belt, and what we just want to do. We talked about it last year. One thing we will do that we did it last year, we talked about this year, is that we just want to be 1-0. Just win them the next game. Don't worry about what everybody else is thinking and saying. We just want to be good that day and then move on to the next day.
If you could you tell us a little bit about RJ and Ryan? A lot of people were talking about them just based on what they did last year and then getting some preseason hub as well. And then obviously Kevin Ware is getting a lot of attention as a newcomer.
Well, Ryan and RJ, what's going to be great about those two is that last year was the first time those guys played together. And even when we, our trip to Costa Rica in the summer, I mean, those guys, having that year together of being able to play, I mean, it looks like those guys have played 5-6 years together the way they're playing right now. And then you had a guy like Kevin Ware. I mean, Kevin Ware is a very, very special player. I mean, I love coaching Kevin Ware. I think people that watch him play are going to be excited. I mean, his explosiveness, he'll be, he's going to be our point guard. He's going to run this team. He's going to really take over what Devontae did. But he's a talented player. But again, it kind of like with Ryan, it takes a little time to kind of, gel in. He's got to now gel in with four guys that have played a lot of minutes together. But his talent will kind of take over that. He'll be fine. But having RJ and Ryan just makes things easier. All of a sudden, all my plays work when I have those two guys. So I know one day I'm not going to have them, and I'm going to run those same plays, and they're not going to work. So that just shows you the importance of having really good players. And so, we run stuff now, and you got a guy that can make a 25-foot jump shot 8 out of 10 times, and you got one of the best guys getting to the basket in the country right there. So it doesn't matter what we run; those two guys make your offense just so much better.
In the loss of Atkins, how do you see that production being replaced with him being gone? Because I know he was kind of overlooked because of Ryan and RJ and some of the other guys there.
Yeah, I thought Manny was terrific for us last year. He kind of started off slow, but, Manny's not the most athletic guy, but he was that stretch forward. We felt like in every aspect of our program, we've gotten better. RJ's gotten better. Ryan's gotten better in their positions. Kurt Washington is much better than he was a year ago. Our bench is tremendous with the guys that we recruited. I love Devontae, but, when you had a guy like Kevin Ware, probably the one piece that we felt like we had is Manny, because Manny was a special type of player. He's a specialist of being able to make the three. Defensively, I used to laugh at it. It was no secret. He was a liability for us defensively. But, again, we were able to, that's the one area that will be probably a little bit different. But our athleticism and our quickness is, we can bring a freshman. We kind of going back and forth. We may start a freshman. We recruited a kid just like Manny Atkins, remind us a lot of it. He can't guard my wife right now, but he can shoot the lights out of it. But we're going to bring him along slowly and bring him off the bench probably rather than starting. But we recruited him for that spot. If we feel like it's not going the way we go, we'll make that move very quickly and put that young man in.
Hey, Coach, who did you say that was again, the freshman?
Jeff Thomas. He's a kid from Ohio first. Yeah.
Okay.
And he may start. I don't know. He may start. So we're going to wait and see.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your questions.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Coach Hunter. That's all the time we have for you today. Best of luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.